Hello and welcome to Race Spec Esports TV. Join us for round 15 of the PS4 America series at the beautiful Singapore City Circuit. We're just watching Sterling West, ILRT Sterling at the moment in qualifying. We joined the session just over 11 minutes left in their short qualifying session. A little bit of a smaller grid today with just the 9 drivers, which is a bit of a shame, but hopefully we're in for a good race nonetheless. So who do we have today? We have Alpu, who's currently in the pits, then we have Sterling, Mick, Laquita Haha, Vasilani, Perry the Dog, Speed Norris, who's a new driver joining us this week. I'm from Paris, and JFD. Hopefully maybe we get some more drivers join us for the race, potentially. For now we just have the 9 in qualifying. This JFD looks like he's about to... Alright, we just finished a lap. We'll go 146.2. Might get some telemetry up. He might be going for it again here. I think he is. So right on board with the Williams driver JFD in his second flying lap here. Ooh, went to turn in a little early to that corner. It's a tricky one, you don't want to cut it through the hairpin now. Very nice through there, short shift to third gear, very nice. Through the final corner now. He's going to improve on his time. He does by 5 seconds, nearly 6. Sorry, just under 6 seconds. He does 140.2. Fastest lap thus far is at 135.9. That must have been on the softs, I would assume. Alpu is going for a second run. We'll run on board with the Toro Rosso driver, currently a provisional pole sitter. Very nice through turn 1 and 2. Short shifting third gear for turn 3. Very nice through there. Up to turn 5, you really want to throw the car in there, carry as much speed as you can onto the straight, open up the DRS. With a bend of turn 6 up to turn 7. Use all the track. She does very nicely. Turn 8, tricky. You don't want to get too much curb there, throw you in the wall. Likewise, turn 9. You don't want to hit the wall on the entry to turn 10. He's absolutely nailing this section as well. Takes a little bit of curb there towards the hairpin. This is a very nice lap from Alpu. Maybe could have short shifted a bit more there out of the exit of that hairpin. He's really going for it here. Could take a bit more curb there and there as well. So there's still time left for Alpu to find on the track. And he's avoiding all the curves. Fair enough. Let's see how much curb he takes for the last corner. He doesn't take any. But he improves by nearly 8/10 to 135 flat. It's a very, very good lap. I think that was mostly first and second sector. He absolutely nailed those two sectors. There's still probably a little bit of time he can find in the third sector, but anything in the 135s is pretty decent. Low 135s is very fast. Alright, let's see if we can find another driver on a lap. Laquita Haha has done a 139.9 on softs. Sterling now out there on the medium tyre, so it's interesting. I think maybe this might suggest that he's going for the one-stop strategy today. Mediums to hard tyres. Alpha, of course, having run on the soft tyres, will be starting on them in the race. So hopefully he's got a couple of sets of mediums up his sleeve for the race as well to do a two-stop. Don't really want to have to go back onto the softs as they don't last long enough in the race. Oh, I thought he was going to start another lap then, but he did come into the pits. Mick's currently on a lap. Oh, no, apologies, he just finished the lap. So he went to 138 flat. He might be going for another one here. He doesn't have a lot of battery to work with if he is going for another lap on these medium tyres. Maybe he's just trying to get back to the pits to put on another set of tyres. Sterling will be starting his lap very shortly on medium tyres, so we'll go on board with the number 19 Ferrari as he completes his... Oh, he's actually ditched it. He is not going to set a lap on the medium tyres. He's going into the pits, so change of strategy there for Sterling. I guess Laney's retired. He might have crashed. I'm not sure. I missed that. JFD's on an outlap. He looks like he's going to commit to the one stop by qualifying on the medium. So there is Vesselaney's car. Right in an awkward position too on the exit of turn 5. Those guys are all in the pits. Laquita Haha is on that. Mick still out there. He did go faster actually, so he went quite a bit faster, really 7/10 on the mediums on a second lap on those set of tyres, so he's taken a bit out of them. Must have felt it was worth going for another run though. The JFD will follow his progress as most of the other guys are in the pits getting ready for their final runs. Alright, JFD's now starting his lap. We're right on board with the Williams driver. This will be his final lap in qualifying, and Perry the Dog's come out right in front of him. He does well to get out of the way. Well done to the Red Bull driver. That must have been a little bit distracting for JFD though. That was just unfortunate timing. But no damage done 5 tenths up already in the first sector on his hard lap, hard tyres time. Very nice through turn 9 up to turn 10. Ooh, doesn't use any of the curbing there. Very nicely over that one. Very narrow on entry to the hairpin, that works for him. Nice short shifting out of there, that's the fastest way. Not a bad lap so far for JFD. Uses the right amount of curb there, a little bit there, that's good. Towards the bridge section. Little lock up there. Oh, yep, that's a great line through there as Humphrey Barris is getting in the way very nicely. Well done. Tim around the final corner comes JFD. He goes third fastest with a 1:37.9. That will be his qualifying done. He will start on the medium tyres. Alright, let's go find Sterling's just about to start his lap, so we might ride on board with him, see what he can do. He has gone back out there on medium tyres, so he's going to have another go. Maybe just did a side lap before on them. There's yellow flag somewhere. End of sector 1. Let's see if there's anyone in the wall up here. Oh, looks like there is. I'm not sure who it was. Oh, it's JFD just retired, so that's okay. He's out of the way. Might just go check in on Alpu, see where he is. Oh, he's actually just about to complete his lap, so he might finish this one. Oh, as he bangs the wall on the second last corner. Turn 20. Through the final corner he comes. And he improves just. Doesn't quite get into it to the 34s, but that's a great lap from him. Maybe lost a bit of time banging the wall on the second last corner, but we rejoin Sterling West for his lap. As he's just entered the third sector. Oh, he might have cut that. Is this time going to count? It won't count. He goes 2.7 seconds faster. But he invalidated on the very last corner. He must be absolutely filthy with that. And we now got the sound glitch as he crossed the line. But, oh, he won't be happy with that. Cutting the last corner. He's improved by 2.7 seconds. That would have put him 136.8 or thereabouts on the medium tyres, which is pretty decent. So that would have been good enough for second place, but as it stands, he will start the race on his hard compound tyres, so hopefully he hasn't taken too much life out of those ones. Probably not the ideal tyre to be starting on, so we'll see what happens. Norris, not quite sure who we're waiting on. I think JFD potentially, but yeah, once again, Sterling West to be kicking himself about qualifying. So it's going to be a long old hard race for him on the on the hards, but if he was planning on doing a one stop, he would have had to gone onto the hards anyway. So I'm not quite sure if that was the plan or not, but starting on the hards and going on to the mediums later in the race might be beneficial for him. He'll have good pace at the end, but still he starts P6 on hard tyres, so those around him going to be on softer and faster tyres for the first few laps. So we'll see how he gets on. Alpu though, with pole position with a 1:35.0, very nice lap from him. Hadn't really mentioned the weather yet, but I was judging from the tyres some of the guys in qualifying were going for, that it was clear that it was going to be a dry start to the race at the very least. It looks like that's the case, as the drivers now selecting their race strategy. So this should be a good one. A couple of contenders in here. With we haven't seen Alpu in a little while, but he's has very good speed. Sterling, of course, our championship leader, and Perry, with a couple of victories to his name as well, is very fast. Then we should have a good midfield battle with JFD, Mick, I'm from Paris, and then we'll see what some of the new guys can do. Speed Norris. Doesn't look like anyone else has joined the session, unfortunately. So I think we're just going to go with the 9 drivers here, as Alpu leads them off for the formation lap. So our running orders today was Alpu with pole position, Perry the dog in the sister Red Bull team on the front row with him, of course. I'll get some tyre data up so you can see what tyres everyone's starting on as well. So Alpu starting on the softs. He will need to do a 2-stop. Perry, Mick at JFD completing the first 2 rows. They all start on the medium tyre, so they all have a choice whether they want to do a 1-stop or a 2-stop. So that's probably the most flexible way to start the race. But they'll have to decide that before the end of their first stint. So once they've done a pit stop, it's whether they go on to softs, mediums, or hards. Once they've committed to the hards, it's a 1-stop strategy. If they commit to one of the other compounds, then it's definitely a 2-stop strategy. So it'll be interesting to see what those 3 do for their races. Then we have Laquita Haha on the softs, so he'll be doing 2-stop. Sterling has actually run a bit deep on the parade lap, but he'll be starting on hard, so hopefully he hasn't taken too much life out of those. I'm from Paris, also starting on the soft, so he'll be doing 2-stop. Vessalani as well, he's 15 seconds behind. Anyway, and then our new driver, Speed Norris, starting on mediums. He has the flexibility to do a 1 or 2-stop as well. So it'll be interesting to see what some of these guys do, as Norris is still coming through the last few corners, and most of the guys are already back on the grid, so we're all waiting. Those front runners have been on there quite a while now. Hopefully their tyres are not getting too cold. So we do have 2 Red Bulls, 2 Toro Rossos on the grid, and then just the 1 Mercedes, Williams, Haas, Ferrari and McLaren, and we are all good for the start of the race. We have 3 red lights, 4, 5 red lights. And it's away we go in Singapore for round 15 of the PS4 America Series. Oh, looks like Perry the Dog got a great start. He's actually got Opu into the first corner. All clean through there so far. Doesn't look like there's any contact, and everyone gets through very cleanly. Very nice, but looks like Perry the Dog got the jump on Alpu on medium tyre. So already we have changed for the lead. There's a horrible camera angle. Alpu chases him. Then we have JFD, Mick, Sterling. Sterling's made up of position. Vessalani, someone's run very deep. It's Speed Norris. He'll need to back out of that one while he sorts himself out. We'll go back in front of him. Laquita Haha's lost a couple of positions. Or gets the position changes up there. So Perry up 1. Laquita Haha dropping down. Vessalani's actually up a couple, but there's been an incident Oh, he spun it on the just before the bridge. So it's no good for him. But meanwhile, Perry the dog out in front. What a great start for the Red Bull driver. Alpu in chase mode. Can JFD stick with this gang as well? Mick and then Sterling just a second and a half back. He might already be struggling on those worn hards. Not quite sure what kind of pace he's going to have on those, but he's got to stick with the one stop. He's committed to that, so he will have the advantage in the sense that he only has to pit once, but he will be slow as Speed Norris again into the wall there at what turn is that? I don't know, turn 14 maybe. But back to the front. It's been a frantic opening lap. They're on lap 2 now. It's good to see that the intervals towards the front between the top 4 have not got too big. They're all pretty much in DRS range of each other at the moment. It's good to see Sterling just a little bit further back. Speed Norris already into the pits at the end of the first lap, so he must have got some wing damage, and looks like he's going to go onto the soft tyres, get a new front wing. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. And I'm from Paris and Laquita Haha. Those two guys have collided. Well, I don't know if that would have been intentional. Oh, it was Vassalani there, cuts the corner a little bit, but I'm from Paris picked up a 5-second penalty for a severe collision. Meanwhile, we go back to the front. Gap starting to open up just ever so slightly. Perry's still got a 7/10 lead over Alpu, sticking with him. JFD, though, has dropped off just out of DRS range, and likewise with Mick. There's another yellow flag, and it's Vassalani, and he's lost his completely lost his front wing there. So he'll need to pit on the end of lap 2. Again, we go back to the front. Perry the dog sets the fast lap, of course, on the end of lap 2. This is going to be an intriguing battle all the way to the finish. I think Sterling is slowly finding his rhythm. He's now reduced the gap to Mick to 1.8 seconds. As this is the first lap, the drivers will have DRS, and Alpu does have DRS on Perry. No one else within DRS range of the car in front throughout the field to get this really nice helicopter shot. You can see those two corners where they come together on the track. Through turn 9 up towards turn 10. They go, but Alpu managed to stick with it. Laquita Haha on comparison, Vassalani, all three of those guys are in the pits on end of lap 2 for new wings already. Vassalani comes out, and Laquita Haha, ooh. So those guys will resume a bit of a battle as well. I wonder if I'm from Paris is going to have a look, if he's going to get DRS on Laquita Haha here. Medium tyres for I'm from Paris, hard tyres for Laquita Haha, and he makes the move pretty easily. So hopefully these guys can stay out of trouble now. And we'll go back to the front of the race. There's a yellow flag in sector 2 already. I wonder who that could be. Oh, and it's Laquita Haha. He's only just come out of the pits, and he's got no front wing. Oh no, he does have a little bit of a front wing, but yeah, really struggling on this Singapore circuit. Alpu is still within that DRS range of Perry. Those soft tyres won't be good for much longer, so I wonder if he will be able to stick with him. This is going to be an intriguing battle. Sterling as well, just biding his time, back in 5th position. He hasn't fallen too far off at the moment. It's probably only 6 seconds off the lead on those worn hard tyres. So if he can keep that gap to about under 10 to 12 seconds, then yeah, he'll be doing pretty well. And he might be able to make a one-stop work and be in contention later in the race. There's another yellow flag in Sector 1. Ivan Paris is retired. Where is he? Has he binned it somewhere? We'll just ride on board with... And Laquita Haha has gone into the pits. Looks like there's a yellow flag. I'm not quite sure where Ivan Paris has... might have just been on the inside there. Anyway, we couldn't see it, but back to the front of the race we go. And I thought Alpu was in the pits for a moment, but he's carried on. Meanwhile, JFD doing a great job there back in P3, hanging on to the lead pack, just a second and a half behind at the moment. Sterling's already into the pits. Well, I didn't see this coming. I wonder if he's got wing damage or he's just had enough of those. Yes, he does have wing damage, so he must have got some had an incident, Sterling, and he'll need to do it. He'll need to do a two-stop from here. So that's not ideal. He'll need to use 2 sets of medium tyres to finish the race now. Possibly even another set of hards. So yeah, things are really not working out for Sterling in this race at the moment. Still comes out in P5, but for the first time I just noticed that Alpu's dropped off just ever so slightly of Perry, and he's really on the cusp of DRS now. Of course, this straight that they're on now did have a DRS zone in real life, but that hasn't been put in the game as yet. And already Speed Norris getting lapped. New addition to the game in the last update, the back markers now do ghost, which I think is a great thing. It's just might just be a little bit confusing, but yeah, you are able to drive through the back markers, which is good news. Alpu has lost some time though, unfortunately, so he's actually losing quite a bit of time through this last sector. His tyres might be gone. He may have overheated them slightly trying to keep up with Perry, but gap is now 2 seconds. He's lost nearly a second in half a lap of the last lap. So yeah, his tyres will be coming to the end of their life very soon. He should be in the pits in the next couple of laps, I would assume. JFD, meanwhile, no drop off in his tyres as yet, and he's in DRS of Alpu. So I wonder how hard Alpu will fight this, knowing that those guys are on a completely different strategy that goes to defend the inside. And he's going to run wide there. That's not the ideal line, but it's all good. It looks like he's really struggling on those soft tyres. So I wonder if JFD with more grip will be able to get the move done on this lap, or whether Alpu will eventually pit anyway. Yeah, very strong drive from JFD so far. There's another yellow flag in Sector 2. Can only assume that is Laquita Haha. He's okay. Speed Norris. Those two guys actually not too far away from each other. Vesselaney having a decent run in P6 at the moment. Meanwhile, Sterling with his fresh wing and fresh medium tyres, this should be banging in some pretty hot laps, I'd imagine. So expect him to put in a fast lap. And there's another yellow flag, and it's Norris again. He's lost P7. He's lost his front wing. Yet again, has the Red Bull driver. He is not having a good time of it. And Alpu is into the pits. So I wonder which tyres he'll go for. It's probably going to be the medium, I would say, if he's doing two stops. We want to go on to a second stint on the mediums and then a third stint on the mediums as well, and it looks like that's exactly what he's doing. So he'll come out in front of Sterling, I believe, still. So very nicely placed to Alpu at the moment in this race. Sterling shouldn't be too far behind though. No, he's not. He's just going to come across the line now. There's another yellow flag, and Speed Norris is out of the race. is our second retirement, so we now just have 7 runners. The Sterling, as I said, did just put in the fastest lap of the race, so he is flying on those new tyres, and he's at only 10 seconds behind Alpu. But as we know, because he pitted early, he's now going to be on a 2-stop strategy as well, so he'll need to be absolutely pushing to make up that time. Meanwhile, JFD's 4 seconds behind our leader Perry. Mick also having a solid race, just 3 seconds back in P3. But it's going to be interesting to see what our front 3 runners at the moment, whether they go onto the hard tyre to try and do the 1-stop, or whether they try something different to those around them. Alpu, we know, is on the 2-stop, so it's going to be interesting to see today which strategy is faster for these guys. Interested to see the difference between Alpu and Sterling's pace as well. The gap's just 10 seconds even. There's not much between them right now. Both on fresh tyres. I think maybe Sterling might be reeling him in ever so slightly, but it's pretty close between the two. I'll get the, as you can see there, 4th, 5th, 6th have pitted once, and Liquida Haha and 7th has pitted twice. The front 3 yet to stop. These are the age of the tyre. So Alpu, oh, hang on a minute, Alpu, going back to his pit stop and looking at his car, it looks like his team put the medium tyres on to do the 2-stop, but that's not the case. He's actually running the hard tyres, as the telemetry says, and the telemetry is always right, so very, very early to go on to the hard tyres to try and get to the end. So that really changes things. I thought for sure that he'll be doing a 2-stop with 2 sets of mediums from the softs, but maybe he went for the softer compound and didn't actually have a spare set of, or 2 sets of mediums, which is why he's had to go onto the hard. So interesting, that kind of explains why Sterling's reeling him in as well. He's caught a second in the last lap or so, but Alpu, I think he's going to be very hard pressed to make it to the end on those hard tyres, but we will see how he does. I would say that's definitely advantage to Perry the dog now, because he will be able to go onto the hard tyres at the end of his first stint, and he'll be probably the best placed driver to win the race. The 2 guys behind him also very, very nicely placed. Sterling puts in another fastest lap, and we have a yellow flag, and Liquida Haha's in the wall yet again. As he spins his car around, looks like there's some carbon fibre there. He probably doesn't want to get in the way of Sterling West, but that wasn't a collision. That was Sterling West driving through the ghosted car of Liquida Haha, who is a lap down now. Sterling absolutely flying. He's caught another second to Alpu. It's now under, it's just hovering about 8 seconds, so don't really have any on-track battles at the moment with, oh, there's another yellow flag. Is it Liquida again? It is. He's not having a great afternoon at Singapore. Laney gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But if those 2 guys finish, they will pick up points. Mick just ever so slightly dropping off the back of JFD. JFD's keeping that gap to Perry pretty constant between 3.5 and 4 seconds at the moment, so showing quite good pace is JFD. Don't rule him out for a challenge at the race win either. Seems pretty comfortable on this Singapore track. And if anything, I think he might be actually cashing Perry at the moment. Yeah, I'm still a bit bamboozled by the tyre choice by Alpu. But anyway, we'll see if he actually does manage to take him all the way to the end. But 25 laps on the hard tyre. I mean, I'm not sure if they can do it, but yes, it's going to be a slow old stint, I think. And he might be a bit of a sitting duck at the end of the race if his tyres are really worn. He might also be planning to go onto the soft tyre at the end. I'm not quite sure what he has in mind, but we'll wait and see. That gap between Alpu and Sterling just steadying a little at around 7 seconds. So I think all the juicy goodness of Sterling's medium tyres might be slightly starting to wear at the moment, and they do actually drop off quite sharply, like all the tyres do around Singapore. It's kind of, they're good for maybe, you know, 4 or 5 laps, and then all of a sudden there's quite a big drop off in performances. As Vesselini's in the wall this time, and he's lost a bit of his wing too. That's at the tricky turn 14, I think that is. And JFD's in the pits, so he's the first one to blink. Is he doing a 2-stop? Let's see what the tyres he puts on. No, he's gone for hard here. Oh, he needs a new wing. So at JFD, as I was talking him up that last lap, he's actually had an incident. He needs a new wing, so he'll lose about 5 seconds for that front wing change. And he's had to pit early onto the hard tyres, so can he now do 20 laps on the hard tyres? Even that is going to be a stretch, I think. But we'll see how he goes. But yeah, that must have just missed that incident there where he had a bit of trouble. But it's dropped him down into P5, but he has pitted, whereas the guys in front of him, well, Sterling has pitted, but, as has Alpu, but Perry and Mick have not. As Mick finds himself in P2 now, 10 seconds behind Perry. I think if I was... oh, and Vesselini's out. He has retired from the session, so Laquita Aha now up into P5. He's already a lap down. But if he finishes the race, he will score points for the Huss team for P6. That's all he's got to do. He's got 20 laps left. Perry the dog, 5 seconds time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Could that cost him later in the race and possibly even the victory? He's gone onto the hard tyres. He won't need to pit again, and mix in as well. No speeding penalty for Mick, crucially. No wing change either, so he's kept it clean. And is that going to put Mick in contention for the race win? If he's able to keep it clean without wing damage, without any penalties, Perry must be kicking himself for that. Oh, there's a yellow flag somewhere. Perry's had an incident. I'm not quite sure who with, but out of the pits. Out of the pits, he has wing damage. Oh, Perry is into the wall. And there goes the other half of your left-sided front wing. So this is turning into disaster for the Red Bull driver. He was comfortably in the lead. And in the space of 30 seconds, he's got a speeding penalty in the pit lane, which cost him 5 seconds. And then on pit exit, he's hit the wall. Now, I think he's deliberately driving into the wall now, which I obviously don't like to see. And hopefully he sticks with it and doesn't retire. But it looks like he's just... You know, he must be kicking himself, but hopefully he gets back into the pits and fix his race. Never like to see this, but that's going to cost him a lot of time. He is weaving, I'm not quite sure what he's trying to say, but... Yeah, he's in such a good position for the victory until the speeding in the pit lane and then the pit lane exit incident. You've got to be so careful at Singapore. He's still going for now, so hopefully he continues, gets back in the pits, puts some fresh tyres on and gets going again, because Oh, he's run very deep there. But, yeah. His race basically ruined as he drives straight into the barrier there. Hopefully he'll get into pits now. He's lost a hell of a lot of time this lap. He'll have to serve that penalty this time as well, and he has actually retired. So that is his race run, unfortunately. So Perry the dog is out of contention. Alpu now is our lead driver on 6-lap-old hards. Sterling on those 8-lap-old mediums. Sterling will definitely need to pit again. I'm not quite sure about those around him. JFD and Mick, they're probably the closest guys on track at the moment. It's not really and we've got a virtual safety car. So will we see any drivers dive into the pits under the virtual safety car? Or has it come at the wrong place for these drivers on the track? Well, JFD and Mick, they're both on fresh tyres, so they won't need to, but will Sterling have a think about it? Will Sterling have a think about going onto hard tyres here? While there's a virtual safety car out and basically halved the pit stop time. Is he going to keep going? No, it's ending. Oh, and Sterling gets a drive-through penalty. Oh, for speeding under the virtual safety car. Oh, that's devastating. A couple of these guys not having great races. Perry's race unravelled really quickly on the previous lap, and now Sterling with a drive-through penalty. Oh no, that's really devastating for our driver in P2. So he will need to serve that drive-through in the next 3 laps, I believe. Check in on our race leader Alpu. He's got a 7.5 second leader over Sterling, but that gap's going to increase, well, by at least, I'd say 10 to 15 seconds as Sterling runs really wide over that curb. As Sterling will have to serve his drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car in the next couple of laps. He's probably better off doing it straight away. So is he going to come in here? He's not. So he'll have... Oh, he slid! His tyres are overheated a little bit. He's waited for JFD to go past. Lucky he was ghosted there. As Mick... Oh, Mick! Something happened to Mick. Mick's had it. Oh no, Mick trying to avoid Sterling's car. He's hit the wall as well. So drama there. I think Sterling was just trying to get out of the way. I'm not sure. I don't think he realised. He knew that JFD wasn't far behind, but I don't think he realised that Mick was also pretty close to him. And oh, that's terrible luck for both drivers. Really, I don't think there was any intent there from Sterling. I think he was genuinely just trying to get out of the way, and I think he's overheated his tyres a little bit. So he'll need to drive cautiously. Oh yeah, he's spinning there. He just can't keep the rear planted. He just needs to drive slowly for this lap and maybe serve his drive-through on this lap to cool his tyres down as well. But Mick, unfortunately, having just pitted a few laps ago, he's going to need to pit again. And I was talking him up about how clean he was keeping his race with no penalties and no wing damage, but unfortunately he's had to take evasive action to try and avoid Sterling's car that was ghosted, but he wasn't to know. Maybe he had some confusion over that and wanted to play it safe, but in doing so has collected the wall, unfortunately. So that leaves Alpu and JFD as the only cars in contention for the race victory at the moment, unless those two have issues as well. But I expect both these guys probably into the pits this lap. Mick to fix his wing and Sterling to do his drive-through penalty as both cars are coming in. Let's see there. Hopefully there's no penalties for either. Mick very cautious, Sterling very cautious as well. So Mick changed that wing, and I think Sterling, Mick going onto medium tyres, might be able to stretch them to the end. Sterling doing his drive-through penalty. I think he should have done it last lap rather than push hard and overheat his tyres. So hopefully his tyres are cooled off now, and he can get going as he clips the inside of the pit wall. Mick comes out. Please don't do that. Make that mistake, Mick. No, you're all clean. Very good. Okay. So Mick, I think, is still on for a podium here. Unless Sterling has a absolutely stellar last 15 laps. We're about halfway through this race. It's going to be a bit of a long one with just the five drivers left. Unfortunately, we have lost 4 drivers. One from Paris Speed Nice, Vassalani having their issues with some crashes and eventually retiring, and Perry having an absolutely nightmare lap and speeding in the pit lane when he came into the pits, and then on pit exit hitting the wall and getting wing damage, and then hitting the wall again at turn 5 and compounding his misery. So, and eventually retiring from the race. But he was in contention for the win today to challenge Opu, but we won't get to see that, unfortunately, as Opu picks up a 3-second time penalty, but I think he's pretty comfortable. Quita Haha, he's in the wall. Which way is he facing? As Mick picks up a penalty. Okay, so Quita Haha has managed to get back in going again. Sterling's into the pits. What is he? The pit for? He doesn't need a new front wing, he just wants new tyres, so he's going on to medium tyres. Still the end of the race. Can he, or will he be able to chase down Mick? The gap back to Mick is huge from JFD's 48 seconds, and we're going to also have another big gap back to Sterling from Mick as well. So the field really is spread out now. We nearly have, well, the smallest gap we have now is nearly 19 seconds, just under 19 seconds between Alpu and JFD. So absolutely massive gaps between the 5 running cars, and of course Quita Haha is a lap down. He's about to be put another lap down by JFD. Yellow flag in sector 3, that'll be Quita Haha just entering the pits. Sterling can probably be looking to set some fastest laps on his fresh tyres. JFD and Mick probably got a free pit stop as well, or maybe not Mick actually, unless Sterling pits again later, but JFD certainly with a free pit stop back to Mick later in the race. Quita Haha's Mick sets the fastest lap of the race as a 140.2. Oh, he clipped the barrier there. I don't know if he picked up damage, but just ever so slightly bumped the wall on the exit of turn 3. He's pushing quite hard, is Mick. He might be better off just just trying to get to the end now. 13 laps left. He's definitely not going to catch the front two unless they make a really huge mistake and need to pit again. Sterling 22 seconds behind Mick. That's a huge ask as well. Quita has pitted his on the soft tyres. Can't fault Opu so far though. His race has been pretty on point, you'd have to say. I am still a little bit worried that he might not be able to get to the end on those hard tyres. He pitted very early, lap 6 or 7. I think it was end of lap 6. So he's done 12 laps on them out of the 19, and we still have 12 laps left, so he will need to do 24 laps on the hard tyres. 25 laps even, I don't know how good my maths is right now. I'm not sure what lap he exactly pitted. It would have been lap 6 or 7. But still, the point I'm trying to make is that is an extremely long way to take a single set of tyres, even if they are the hard tyres. So keep an eye on that. But JFD in a similar boat. He's only got 4 lap younger tyres. I think he might be okay to get to the end. Mick and Sterling should be okay on their medium tyres. Are only a couple of laps old, 3 and 2 laps old. Quita will have to pit again. If he's got any tyres left, I'm not quite sure what he's got left. Not quite sure who to follow here. All these guys just kind of doing their own thing with the gap so huge. The smallest gap is 21 seconds. So quite a big gap. So where's Sterling? So Sterling's coming up to the final corner, and Alpu is nearly coming under that tunnel. So Sterling's actually not far off being lapped, but I don't think he will, given that he's on the fresh medium tyres. So I think he'd be pulling away from Alpu. But our series leader, championship leader, not having the best day. It all started with that last corner invalidation in qualifying, which cost him, meaning he had to start on the hard tyres in P6 instead of P2 on the medium tyres, so it would have made a huge difference for his race. And then having to get off those hard tyres fairly early on, and then picking up as a drive-through penalty for speeding on the virtual safety car. So easy to do if you're not paying attention. I've done it myself a couple of times, and it's just one of those silly ones where you're absolutely kicking yourself. Drive-through is such a harsh penalty as well. But yeah, those are the rules. Oh, Sterling has a bit of a moment out. Turn 20. cuts the corner, the last corner as well. So he's really pushing. He doesn't want to overheat the tyres. It's the issue. He cuts that corner a little bit. Yeah, I think he's having some issues overheating the tyres at the moment. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. Quite sure who that was, as Sterling picks up a time penalty. I'm not sure what that yellow flag was for. Could have been Laquita Haha. He was back. No, yeah, he has got damage yet again on the right side of the Haas front wing. There's no end plate on it. Top 5 for him will be a good result, as Sterling cutting more corners. We'll go back to, we'll watch a bit of JFD in P2. Oh, getting some very odd noises there on the broadcast. Not sure what that was. Was it a car in front or an echo of some sort? But some interesting sound design there. So we're on lap 22 of 31 at the moment. Just 9 laps left. Has been a bit of a long race, but hopefully these last lot of laps go relatively quickly. JFD having a very nice race. Mick, you can see how far behind these guys are from each other. Mick has actually really dug into JFD's gap. Actually, it was around 48 seconds or something. It's brought it down quite a bit. Don't quote me on the 48 seconds. It was definitely in the 40s. So Mick having a good run. If not for that bad luck with that incident with Sterling, I think he might have been on for a fight for second place with JFD. Unfortunately, we were robbed of that through that incident. It has been a bit of a drama-filled race, despite the smaller grid. Oh, Peter Haha having more issues in the background of as we watch Alpu. Peter Haha's back on the medium tyres. Let's hope he can keep it out of the wall for the remaining 7 laps. Just keep it on track. Just get a bit of practice. Oh, bit of wheel spin there. I'm not sure what assist he's using. Whether he's using no assist or if he's assist free. Judging by that little tank slapper out of turn 3, mustn't be using traction control. Let's see if he's locking up. I think he's definitely using ABS. I'm just not sure what he's wearing, using traction control. quite nice through there. A little bit slow perhaps, but been a good lap from him. He's using manual gears too, which is quite impressive, so very good from him. He's a couple laps down, but oh, we've got a massive lag spike then. Another lag spike. Yeah, jump on board with someone else. Well, Alpu just out in front, firing an absolute catastrophic incident. He should win this race quite comfortably. Just 6 laps left now. Shown some really good pace. His qualifying pace was outstanding with that pole position, the 1:35.0. It's a really great lap. That would be competitive in just about any series, I'd imagine. So, well done to him. He's really had a good day of it. So, maybe go on board with him for a lap. Our race leader right now. Really revving the engine high before shifting. It's interesting. It's definitely probably use a little bit more fuel, but ooh, nearly very close to that barrier. Very nice through the hairpin, third gear even. Yeah, he's got really good lines through most of the track, so no wonder he's very quick. Starting the 27th lap of 31, just 5 laps left. Let's see what JFD's up to. Yeah, avoiding the curves through the last sector, interestingly. So this should be also be a comfortable P2 for JFD. Don't think he's going to be able to catch Alpu, who's just in another world today, and Mick 33 seconds behind him. So JFD still with the margin for that free pit stop if he wants to take it and have a go at the fastest lap. He's probably the only driver, maybe Alpu, but if Alpu did it, it would put him back into the clutches of JFD, but he would be in on much faster tyres, so I don't think that'd be an issue. So look, it's probably worth going for the top two and definitely Sterling as well, who's probably is our last of our runners on the lead lap. So I would definitely expect JFD and Sterling to go for a fast lap attempt towards the end, maybe pit lap 30. Yellow flag. Oh no, and it's Frida Haha back in the barrier. And we got the sound glitch, so it's fantastic. Apologies for that. There's that interesting audio sound again. Mick has a ton of battery, so I wonder if he's saving all his battery for a fast lap attempt. 90%. Sterling has quite a bit as well, 70%. He might be thinking the same thing. Peter Haha's in the pits. JFD though, with not a lot of battery to play with, so if he wants to go for a fast lap attempt, he might be best served to try and save some for that, but he might not be too concerned. He might just want to take the P2. Alpu as well, with a little bit, that's probably enough. I would say you'd probably want at least 50 to 60% to go for a hot lap attempt. So yeah, he's fine. I think it's Sterling. He's the first one to blink. He might actually get 2 goes at it at the fastest lap. So on go the soft tyres. He's got 83% battery in the bank. So we expect a fast one for him next time around. Will that mean Mick then sees that Sterling is pitted, and he might go for an attempt as well? He's sitting on 92% battery, so quite a lot. Whoa, as JFD gets dangerously close there to the barrier. Those hard tyres might be starting to go off now. Alpu's tyres have done 22 laps. There's no sign of him slowing down yet. Still driving very well. As JFD did not pit on that time around. I'll see if Mick pits. Is he going to pit? Yes, Mick's going to dive into pits too. So he's going to pit on lap 29 and go for a fast lap attempt. He's got 100% battery, so Sterling still on the previous lap. So the soft tyres go on the Mercedes. Sterling just coming up. Mick will exit the pit lane. Still with a massive gap to Sterling. Sterling just coming under the grandstand now, and Mick is out on track. So we'll see what he does next time round. Alpu is in the pits. He's going to go for a fast lap attempt. So 3 of our top 4 going for a fast lap attempt. Is JFD going to stay out as he picks up a penalty? Sterling's back in the pits. Okay, not quite sure why. Oh, he's going to get a new front wing. That's why. Okay, so there's a yellow flag somewhere. That must be Laquita Haha. It is. So is JFD going to pit? JFD's kept going. And Sterling's actually been lapped now. So Sterling's a lap down. After those 2 pit stops, he will finish the race on the next lap. So Mick is probably the first one to do a fast lap attempt. So at least we have a little bit of excitement for the rest of this race. Mick with a time penalty. I don't think any drivers would be concerned about time penalties. The gap with the front's just 7.5 seconds now, but as you can see, Alpu will not be he won't be troubled on those soft tyres compared to JFD's 19 lap old hards, unless Alpu bins it on his fast lap attempt. Okay, so Mick's going to go for a lap here. Let's ride on board with him. This is essentially a bit of a qualifying session at the end of the race for these guys, so Laquita Harhard's even going to go for it. Down into turn 7. It takes a lot of curve at turn 8 that gets through cleanly. Turn 9, tricky, clips the curve there. Don't want to clip the wall, it's just about as close as you'd want to get, I think. Up to turn 10, don't want to clip that wall either. Runs a bit deep into the hairpin. Is JFD going to go for a fast lap attempt? I'm not sure if he's going to pit. No, we're on the last lap now. So JFD will not be going for a fast lap attempt. It's been a pretty decent lap from Mick so far. I definitely expect this to be the fastest lap under the grandstand. Going to use all his batteries in overtake at the moment. He's coming up to the final corner. .138.1. Okay, so we'll see what Alpu can do. He's coming up to turn 14. Sterling is under the bridge, so Alpu will win the race before Sterling finishes his lap. JFD will come second. Quita Haha finished 3 laps down. Here comes Alpu through the last sector. Is he going to make it a perfect 26 points with the fastest lap as well? He did a 1:35 flat in qualifying. He wins the race and he does a 1:37.8 for the fastest lap of the race. Congratulations on the race victory. Here comes Sterling. Can he beat a 1:37.8? Definitely a beatable time. See if he does it. I don't think he did. Laquita Haha picks up. Let's see. Yeah, fastest lap. It was Alpu. Yeah, so Alpu. Mick might be going for a second attempt here. Can he beat the 1:37.8? He's got to find 3/10 on this lap. Oh, maybe just clip the inside wall there under the grandstand. He'll be the last guy across the line. JFD came second. Mick will come third. Will he get the fastest lap too? He won't. That has been the Singapore Grand Prix, round 15 of the PS4 America Series. Thank you for watching. We'll wait for the official results, of course, but congratulations to our race winner, Alpu, and picking up the fastest lap as well. So perfect 26 points from the Toro Rosso driver. Coming home P2 was JFD. Strong drive from him, making those hard tyres last 22, 23 laps. Quite a long way. And Mick as well, solid drive from him. Unlucky not to be in contention for P2, but kept it clean for the rest of the race. To bring it home on the podium. And that's our finishing order. Few penalties, but in the matter they really didn't. In the end, they really didn't matter. Such a long race, Singapore. 53 minutes in dry conditions. Crazy long. So Alpu with a victory and fastest lap with a 1:37.8. Sterling was very, very close. Only 7/100 slower on that fastest lap, so pretty close between the two. But Alpu picks it up. Bit of damage limitation for Sterling. JFD, Mick on podium, Laquita Haha, our only other finishers, Perry, Vesselini, Speed Norris, and I'm from Paris, all failing to finish with having their issues. But that has been Singapore Grand Prix for PS4 America Series. We will see you next week for round 16, which I believe is out in Russia. So join us for that one.